Welcome to Elevate Your Dog Summit. This is another week, and it's going to be awesome and amazing. We have so many things that are happening. This is a live stream. We are live right now. So as we go today, you guys can answer. We can answer questions as we go. And so if you want to put down any comments or any questions down below, please do so. Today is going to be a really great day because we're going to show you guys the powerfulness behind platform training using climbs. And we have the expert in platform training, Jamie Popper, here with us today. Hey, Jamie.
Hi, Trevor. Thanks so much for doing all of the organizing of this. I'm super excited to be presenting today for the Elevate Your Dog Summit. And what couldn't be more elevating than actually elevating your dog.
So true.
I'm super excited about it. So I'm Jamie Popper from Blue 9 Pet Products. And like Trevor said, we've got some really amazing topics for this entire week. So make sure that you are keeping an eye on all of the notifications and stuff like that as well. If you have any questions as I'm going through different topics today, feel free to pop them in the comments down below. Trevor's going to pipe in if any questions come in so that I can answer them for you. So today's topic is all about platform training. And you can see Ruth's hanging out on the climb from Blue 9 Pet Products back there. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So before we get started with showing a couple of different exercises that you can do with a platform, I want to talk about it. Why platform training? If you know anyone that works in the zoo animal field, you'll know that stationing is one of the very first behaviors that they teach to zoo animals when they're in their care. And so when you look at what stationing means, often it's just that the animal is looking at you and is ready and waiting for your next cue. A lot of times the stationing is actually done on an elevated platform though. And so any elevated, stable, safe object that your dog or the animal that you're working with can navigate safely is a great object to work on. So by elevating our dog or creating that, it creates a defined space for our dog to work on. And what that does is it creates a focused mind. So when our dogs are up on an elevated platform, usually something that's about 12 inches tall is what our research and development kind of found was the sweet spot. And then something that is just large enough for your dog to be able to sit, stand, lay down on comfortably. So a relatively small area. Creating that area for them helps quiet their feet. And you know what they say, quiet feet equal a focused mind. So if you talk to any professional dog trainer, the first thing that they're going to say that you need to have before you can start teaching any new behavior is a focused dog. So if we can create that defined space for them to work on by using a platform, then we have fewer distractions, which makes training every new behavior easier. So enough with my rambling. I just get really nerdy about all of the power of using an elevated surface, but I'm sure you guys want to see some of the things that you can do or how to really get started with teaching that stationing behavior. So I'm going to demonstrate with Rue, who's obviously a seasoned pro. He's hanging out back there, but I want to show you how you would get started with training your dog to get onto a platform and navigating that comfortably. So let's give that a try. So what I usually like to do is start with a relatively short platform to get the dog comfortable with it. Rue, come here. And what I'm going to do is lure him across it with food in order to get him comfortable with just walking across it. So just putting his front feet up there, all 4 feet, 2 feet off, and then tossing a treat to reset. Okay, 2 front feet, all 4 feet, 2 front feet off, and then toss a reward to reset. Once your dog is getting comfortable with just moving on the platform like that, you're ready to build it up to a higher height. Go on. So what I'm going to do here is just get rid of this one that didn't have any legs installed, and we're going to do it with the setup platforms over here. So same motion, I'm just using a little hand motion to encourage him to get up there. And once he's up there, up on this taller platform, now I'm going to move on to jackpotting him just for hanging out up there. So we're building a little bit of reinforcement value for just hanging out up on it. When I want him to get off of it, I can either toss a treat to reset, or if your dog already knows a release cue, you can give that. Break. And then I'll wait my dog out. If he decides to get right back up there, I'm going to go ahead and mark and reinforce him for that again. Roo, break. Good. And then again, rewarding him if he chooses to stay up there. We'll just give him a lot of reinforcement while he's up here, and that's going to be what magnetizes him to it. So let's talk about that for just a minute. Roo, relax. Where are you supposed to be? Good job. So let's talk about that for a minute. The first step is really just getting them comfortable with walking over top of their elevated object. It's great if you have different platforms that you can use, something that's a little bit smaller, like my example was the climb without any legs installed. And then if you have the ability to make your platform taller by installing the legs, or maybe if you're using homemade platforms and you have two different ones, then you build it up to the higher height. What we want to do is start to train our dog to stay on the platform. And you saw Roo, as soon as I gave him that release cue, and then he was able to do whatever he wanted, he hopped right back up on the climb because he knows that's where he's going to get reinforcement. So when we teach our dogs to stay on the climb, it can help solve problem behaviors like jumping up on guests or begging at the dinner table. And it's also really good for training an off switch. So we're going to talk a little bit about how we add different levels of criteria to it. So when I go back to Roo, I'm going to show you guys how to add distance, duration, and distractions to working with your dog on a platform. So eventually our target behavior is for them to stay on the climb until we give them their release cue. So the first thing that I want to build up is a little bit of duration. And you saw that already with just rewarding him for staying up there. Next, I'm going to start adding in a little bit of distance. And then finally, I'll add in some distractions. Now, when you're adding different levels of difficulty, you want to make sure that you only raise one criteria at a time. So if my dog knows how to do a 5-second sit stay or stay on your climb stay, I'm not going to ask for 5 seconds up there while I take 5 steps away and while I throw 5 tennis balls at him. I'm going to lower my criteria just a little bit in one of those areas when I'm raising my criteria elsewhere. So even though he can do a 5-second stay, if I'm now starting to work on a little bit of distance of moving away, I'm not going to ask for as long of duration when I take a step back away from the climb. So let me give you guys a little tutorial and show you what that looks like. So what I'm going to do is let him know that he can get off of it. Roo, break. I'm going to give him his cue, which is telling him to climb and pointing at which climb I want him to go to. Roo, climb. Yes. Okay. I'm going to reward him first for that. And now my climb behavior is as long as you've got 4 feet on your climb, you're meeting my criteria. He can sit, he can stand, he can lay down if he wants to, but as long as he's up there, we're good. So the first criteria I'm going to add on is duration. So I'm going to count to maybe 5, for example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to reward him for staying up there on his climb for 5 seconds. I'm going to continue to build that duration a little bit. Of course, he already knows this, but this is great practice for you guys as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then I'll reward him for that. So now that I can tell that he can hold his climb behavior for 10 seconds, I'm ready to start adding another level of difficulty. Now, I'm not going to ask him to hold that full 10 seconds now that I'm adding another level of difficulty, which is going to be distance. So I'll go ahead and reset him a little bit. Roo, break. Roo. Climb. Okay, so I add just a couple of steps away from him. Notice I didn't ask for a full 10 seconds of staying up there. I just took a few steps away. All right, so once I've worked on that quite a bit for my dog, with my dog, I'm ready to start adding a little bit more. So maybe some distractions that I'll work on with him is staying on the climb even when he hears a door being knocked. So instead of adding a whole bunch of distance right now, I'm going to lower that criteria. So I know that he can do a 10-second stay. I know that he's fine with me going 5 steps away, but now I'm going to start adding in another level of difficulty for him, and that's going to be distractions. In this instance, we're going to use a noise distraction. So I'm not going to ask for him to stay for 10 seconds while I walk 5 steps away and knock on the wall. I'm just going to stay right here as I introduce this new distraction. Good. And so as long as he doesn't get off of the climb, and hopefully if he doesn't react, then I'm just going to mark and reward him for that. Good. So of course he can see, but you can see his ears are perking up. He can tell that no one's coming in, but his ears are definitely perking up and he's excited about whatever this distraction is. You're doing very good. All right, we'll work on one more distraction with him. Notice I'm staying nice and close to him. I'm not adding a whole bunch of extra criteria for him right now. I'm staying pretty close so that I can get in there and reward him when he makes the good choice. So this next distraction is going to be saying some phrases that I typically say when people are coming into my house. A lot of times this gets him to bark, and I want you guys to see how I handle some of the mistakes that he might make. Hello! Did you guys see his ears turn back? So there's a door that people come in just over that way, and his ears turned back like, I'm going to see if I can find out where that person is coming from. Hello, welcome, come on in. Good boy. All right, so you guys saw I made him make a mistake right there. If I had clicked and rewarded 2 seconds earlier, I wouldn't have gotten that bark, but I wanted you guys to see that he makes mistakes too. So let's give that a try again. This time I'm going to mark and reward before he has the opportunity to make a mistake. Hello, welcome, come on in. Good, and you saw him starting to pucker his lips a little bit like he was going to bark. You saw his ears turn back like, oh, where's this person coming from? And so being able to mark the instant after I'm done saying hello and welcome helps interrupt him from doing that inappropriate behavior. So I'm marking and rewarding the absence of the behavior that I don't want. All right, so let's combine a couple of those criteria. So I know he can do a 10-second sit stay. I know that he's fine with me going 5 feet away. And I know that he's fine with me doing the hello, welcome, come on in. Now I'm going to start to add some of those together. So I'll start with just a little bit of duration. So he's been hanging out up here for a while. Let's give him a little break. Break. All right. We'll re-cue him to get up there. Okay. So he's going to stay up there for, let's say 10 seconds. And now I'm going to take about 3 steps away. So just adding in little pieces of those criteria, raising that criteria 1 step at a time. Very nice, okay? And so he can do a 10-second sit stay with me 3 feet away. Let's do a 10-second sit stay with me 6 feet away. Good boy. And now we'll add in some of those distractions. So when I take a step over here, maybe I'll knock on the door. Hello, welcome, come on in. Very nice, good job. Very good. All right, so let's pop over here. If you guys have questions about any of the stuff that I just did, feel free to pop them in the comments below. I'm going to give you a quick recap. Whenever you're working on adding distance, duration, and distractions, you want to make sure that you only raise your criteria 1 step at a time. And so one of the other things that I talk about whenever we're working on adding distractions is also the move, stick, drop rule. Move, stick, drop, okay? If your dog is successful 80% of the time at the criteria that you're working on, so maybe it's 10 seconds of stay, if he's successful 80% of the time, move up your criteria. So you can move on to maybe asking for 15 seconds or 20 seconds. If your dog is successful less than 80% of the time, stick right where you're at. So keep working on that 10 seconds of duration before you bump him up to the next level. If your dog is successful less than 50% of the time, so they're really struggling, they're really having trouble with this, drop your criteria. So if I've practiced maybe 10 trials of asking my dog to do a sit stay for 10 seconds on the climb, and he has not met criteria, not earned the reward 5 out of 10 times, then I'm going to take my criteria back a little bit. I'm going to drop it down, and I'm only going to ask for maybe 5 seconds, okay? So if you notice that your dog is having mistakes, make sure that you drop your criteria down and build up their confidence level with it before you move on to higher and higher criteria. I've got a couple more things that I want to show you guys today before we end, but I'm going to check in with Trevor and see if there's any questions that have popped up or any questions that he has before we move on to some other fun stuff. And Trevor, I don't think your mic is on just yet, so I can't hear you.
Good.
There you are.
I was unmuting myself, make sure I was not talking during this great presentation. Oh my gosh, you can see the comment section. There's so many people right now that are joining in and saying like so many great things about the timing, about everything. I'm going to go ahead and send you a question right now from Deborah, and
Sure.
that you can. It says, do you train them to automatically go to the climb at the sound of the door knock or doorbell?
That is a great question. You certainly can do a cue transfer. So right now, his cue to go to the climb is go to your climb or climb. But you can certainly do a cue transfer, and that would be where you teach them that the new cue for go to your climb is hearing the doorbell or hearing knocking at the door. I personally haven't done that yet, but I've seen a lot of people have a lot of success with it. The way that you would do this to do a cue transfer is to present your new cue and then present your old cue. So I'll give you a quick demonstration with that, and we'll see if he can pick up on it. So, Rue, break. Hit Rue's old cue, or the cue that he knows how to respond to right now, is climb, and then he goes up there, okay? I'm going to toss a cookie to reset. My new cue that I want him to respond to is going to be door knocking. So I'm going to have him come over here for just a second. I'm going to knock on my door, and then give him his old cue, climb. Mark and reward for that, okay? Then we'll reset, break. Climb. And I'm gonna do that 5 times and see if he figures it out. Break, break. Chew your cookies. Climb. Break. You're anticipating. Break. Climb. Break. Climb. All right, we'll give him one more to see if he figures it out, and then we'll move on to something else. Right here, bud. There you go. Nice work. So you can see with just a little bit of body cues, by turning my shoulders towards the climb, I helped him out a little bit. But he's starting to pick up on the fact that when I knock, he's probably going to the climb next. So it'll take several repetitions and training sessions like that in order for your dog to pick up on the new cue. But that's how you do a cue transfer. Great question. Trevor, I think we've got time for one more on this topic before I move on to just a couple of other quick things.
All right, I don't have any more questions at the moment, but I do want to say there was a really cool comment from Kim May saying that she has a poster that on her wall that says calm feet equals focused mind.
I love it. I love it. Calm feet equals a focused mind. That is right.
So cool.
Awesome. All right. Well, the last thing that I wanted to show you guys was just a little bit more about the versatility of platform training. So certainly we can train our dogs to go to the platform, and it really helps with minimizing those problem behaviors that we might have with our dogs. If they're up on the climb, then they can't be underneath our feet when we're cooking dinner. They can't be jumping up on our guests when they're walking in the front door, and they can't be begging at the dinner table. So teaching a really solid, incompatible behavior of go to your spot and stay there can be really, really valuable. But there's always more. There's always more. So to talk a little bit about some of the things that you can do with a climb, I use it a lot for canine conditioning, fitness, and body awareness exercises with Rue. So some of the things that I teach are pause points or using it as a rear foot target. So I'll show you guys a couple of those things, and then I'll tell you a little bit more about other uses as well. Rue, break. So I'm just going to move these pink climbs out of the way. So I've got a couple other ones that I want to show you guys you can do different things with. So I've got this angled climb right here. So just by taking a couple of the legs off of it, I can set up an angled platform. And Rue, your big booty is just blocking their view. So by taking 2 of the legs off of it, I can create an angled platform for Rue to work on. And one of the things that I mentioned was teaching some rear end awareness or rear foot targeting. So one of the ways that I teach this is by a little bit of luring. So what I do is I set my leg up here on the climb, and Rue already knows what I'm going to ask for. Come here, bud. And I lure him up and over my leg so that he ends up with just his rear feet on the climb. And I'm going to jackpot this behavior just by marking and rewarding for him keeping his rear feet there. since he's got so much reinforcement value for it, if I lure him off of it just a little bit, and if I withhold reinforcement, then he's going to offer that behavior of walking back. Let me show you that one more time. Nice work. So I just lure him off just a little bit. And then when I withhold reinforcement, oh, now you're not going to do it for me. There you go. When I withhold reinforcement, then he offers that walking back behavior. So this can be really fun for teaching some rear end awareness. Using it like this, you can also work on other fitness skills like puppy squats. Down. Stand. Good. Down. Stand. Good job. Very nice. Good job, buddy. So that's another fun thing that you can do with them for fitness exercises. And this, when you do fitness exercises with your dog, it works both their body and their brain. And so they almost get doubly tired. One of the other fun skills that I work on with a climb without any legs installed on it is teaching our dogs how to put just their front feet on something, just their rear feet on something, or all 4 feet. So I really want to have enough control over my dog that I can ask him, just your 2 feet, please, 2 front feet, please. All right, all 4 of your feet on this piece of equipment. And then just your rear feet, and then going back and doing it all again. So being able to have them pause at each of those moments is really beneficial. So give that a try with your dogs. All right, Rue, go to your pink climbs. Relax. Some of the other things that you can use your platforms for is working with multiple dogs. So if you have multiple dogs in your household, you can ask for one to stay on the climb and then work with your others in their training sessions. It makes it really easy to swap out dogs. You can also use it as a slow feed bowl or as a food enrichment puzzle, which is kind of fun. So if you flip your platform upside down, you can throw kibble and cookies in the climb. Sometimes we'll store the legs, so the dogs have to kind of move the legs around in order to get to the cookies underneath it. So there's a lot that you can do there. A lot of people also use it for trick training. So lots of different fun tricks you can work on up there. Remember, when your dog is up on a platform, they're going to be more focused on you, which makes it that much easier to train them to do new behaviors. And one of the other things that I've recognized as well is they have increased muscle memory. So when we're trying to teach our dogs how to do these very minute behaviors, so something like a sit pretty where we really want their feet tracking forward and a really nice straight top line, teaching them that muscle memory and doing it up on an elevated platform, I find that they pick up on it that much more quickly because they're already thinking about what their feet are doing and what their body is doing. So it's almost like it gets cemented into their muscle memory a little bit faster. And then finally, you can also use the platform, the climb, for teaching foundation skills for virtually every dog sport. So for competitive obedience and rally, I work on fronts and finishes on it. I stand on the platform. It's weight rated for over 500 pounds, so that makes it easy. I can pop up there, work with him on his fronts and finishes. We also work on beginning go outs for obedience, or using it for start line stays. Or if you do hunting and field trials with your dogs, you can teach them different retrieving drills, being able to cast them left and right. And I'm sure that's backwards on the camera, but it's my left and my right for field trials and stuff like that as well. So I hope that this gives you an idea of ways that you can get started with platform or climb training. The number one benefit that I see with it is managing those problem behaviors in the home, but there's 101 uses for it. So if you're looking for, Rue's complaining about it, if you're looking for new ways to use your platform, you can certainly check out the Blue 9 Dog Training Games Facebook group, and there's a lot of really cool content there as well. And then you can also check out the Learn section on blue-9.com. But for now, I'd like to open it up to any questions or comments and kind of pass it back to Trevor to see if there's anything I missed.
So, Jamie, one of the things that came up is that you're fantastic, and the climb and the platform training is great. Kathleen Ramey's just commented right now that this is a great program. Thank you. And Shannon was like, this climb has helped us learn to hunt, learn to jump on bales so you can climb reinforced jumping objects. I mean, there's so many uses from the climb. And one of the questions that came in through right now is that can we have a multiple climb session sometime?
Ooh, that'd be fun. There's so much that you can do with multiple climbs too. And a lot of people will say they're kind of like potato chips. You can't have just one. I have a ton at my house, which obviously working for the company makes it a little bit easier, but I find so much value in it that I've got 2 sitting in my living room. I've got 4 in my training studio downstairs. I've got 2 or 3 out in my backyard so that they're just there when I need them. And I find so much value and use in them. So absolutely, we should definitely do a multiple climb training session. That would be fun.
Yeah. So yeah, and then Jenny was like, "Yes, please. We would love to see more about using climbs in a multi-dog household too." So that's awesome too. We definitely could do that and bring you in for that. That'd be awesome. But Jamie, thank you so much. And also, I have to give a big shout out to everybody in the comments section. I think this has been like one of the most interactive sessions I've had on the summit. So it's been fantastic, and I'm so happy that everyone that joined today and all the likes and the comments and the shares, you guys are fantastic. And we appreciate the support on the summit. We've really pulled something together here special for you guys, and we appreciate everybody's love for it. So if you guys like more information like this, if you guys want to know more, Jamie, where do they go to know more about you? I know you said blue9, blue-9.com is another great website for people to go to, right?
Yep, blue-9.com is a great resource. And then we'll drop a link to the Blue 9 Facebook group as well. So not only do we have a page where you can learn all about Blue 9 pet products, and we post different training tips and stuff like that there as well, but our Blue 9 Dog Training Games Facebook group, we do different training challenges there. We've actually got one launching later this week. I know there's a lot of stuff online right now, but this one's going to be a really fun challenge. There's lots of prizes to be given away, all of that stuff. So definitely take a look at that if you're looking for another training challenge to do with your dog. But yeah, those are probably the 2 best places for them to find out more about me and the work that I do with Blue 9.
Awesome. Guys, thank you for joining today once again. We are going to be back on here live at 2 o'clock today. So if you guys want to know more information, that we had a hiking session planned in Maryland with Chrissy Joy. But sadly, the rain and weather has gotten really bad, so much so that branches are falling all over the place in Maryland. She told me this morning that they're called widowmakers for a reason. So she was a little nervous and scared. But what we're going to do instead is we're going to do a what do you do session, probably using climbs. I guarantee that when the weather's bad outside. So I'm going to give you guys a 5-minute workout routine that you can do with your dog indoors to get that exercise in and don't waste the day. Guys, join us at 2 o'clock today, Central Standard Time, here on the Doggy Dojo. And also, Jamie, once again, thank you so much. Those that love the program, go ahead and throw a like on this video, share it with your friends and family, and go check out Jamie and all that she's doing awesome around the world. So, literally almost around the world. You've actually traveled quite a bunch. So, thanks, Jamie, for joining us. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Bye.